Dude, the amount of sweeping for Innuendo Studios is honestly absolutely obscene at this point. The guy didn't pay his taxes. The reality is, you've got to stuff your video with ads. That's the way you make money. It's just what it is, dude. If that's uncomfortable to you, get another job. Do you remember the YouTube? Oh my God, there was a YouTube strike in 2019. A bunch of retarded leftoids tried to do some stupid YouTube strike. Totally worthless, didn't do anything. Why did you post that? And do not go into general chat in Discord. Do not go to alert, gok alert. Do not go to general chat in my Discord right now. Do not look. So one thing I've come to learn, okay, is that you guys love it when there's some soy lefty moron that is moaning about money and doesn't know how to manage their finances, okay? You absolutely love that, right? Innuendo Studio stuff happened, you love that. Now, I also know that you love trans tent. So you love it when we're looking at some trans individual and we're having a bit of a laugh about that, okay? Well, I've got some absolutely phenomenal news, okay? I have got the intersection of idiot broke lefty and trans tent to look at now. When I saw this, I was literally ecstatic. I was like, perfect, right? And it's someone that you know from before, okay? This was a video on the second channel, and DK titled it as like, you know, beautiful trans woman's rage or something like that, right? And it got quite a lot of views. So I'm assuming you guys love a bit of this. Perfect intersection. So we've got this video here by Council of Geeks. Your favorite YouTubers are not doing okay. So I looked at this and I was like, oh my God, yes. Ideal content. And then I skimmed through the preview and I was like, oh my God, they're bringing up the back end YouTube stat. Oh my God, yes, they're getting into the ins and outs of it. Actually, fantastic. Very excited to get into this. So let's have a little look and we'll see what's going on. Stinner, thank you for the super chat for your retirement plans. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. So here we go. Let's get into it.
You know, one of the aspects of the show that
Always a shock. Always a shock.
get talked about is the necessity of projecting success, even if only by not owning up to when things get rough, financially speaking.
There we go. So that's obviously what they used to look like when they were normal, as we know. Council of Geeks. There we go. Oh wait, hang on. I didn't notice that before. Did I? That's... Look. So they start off here as their old male self, and then they transition, in both senses, to their female form, you'll notice. And again, very favourable. Extremely favourable presentation, as per usual.
I feel like I should say up front, I'm doing fine right now. Like, by the metrics of YouTube, but that's kind of what I'm going to be here to talk about. Now, this is not my first time kind of discussing the financial realities of trying to make YouTube your job. I did a video about a year ago, actually, on that topic, interviewing a number of interviewers and also speaking about my own situation.
Dude, worthless, I'm sure. Thank you, Navin, for the super sticker. Pear character with lovey-dovey eyes blowing red hearts in the air. Thank you for the super sticker.
But something happened while I was on vacation.
Oh my God! Hey!
Will survive this. New Pokemon drops today too. Wow.
Not Miku. Thank you for the $20. Super generous. Thank you.
Situation. But something happened while I was on vacation that made me want to revisit the topic.
Okay.
Because I really don't think that people understand how hard financially this is to do.
Right. So, yes, obviously you need to manage your finances well. Dude, the amount of sweeping for Innuendo Studios is honestly absolutely obscene at this point. The guy didn't pay his fucking taxes. Most of his debt was back taxes that he hadn't fucking paid. Of course you're going to get into debt if you don't pay the tax, man. It's like the one thing you've got to pay. And they're all acting like, oh, it's so hard, isn't it? Yeah, running a business is hard if you don't pay your taxes because that's a fucking legal requirement.
And I think that's partially our own fault. So I'm going to talk a little bit. This is not strictly about, but I'm going to talk a little bit about the YouTuber Ian Danskin, also known as Innuendo Studios. I like Innuendo Studios a fair bit. I've referenced it in a number of videos at various points for various reasons. I've enjoyed, actually, probably most.
Bro, what I have always, when I first started doing this, right, I was always very like, fuck, I need to make sure that I've got, I can sort the tax man out. And initially, right, I had to pay it via installments because I didn't have like the relevant, like I didn't have cash flow essentially to pay off the fucking tax man, right? But over time, I've sort of built it up to a point where I'm getting to the stage where hopefully next year I should be in a position where I can just clear my tax bill when it comes up straight away, right? So, it's not even to say that you need to, like, the government is reasonable, okay? If you speak to them and you explain your circumstances, right? They will work with you. They will help you, right? They're not complete monsters. Obviously, they're coming for their fucking blood from the stone, but they're not monsters. And they get that businesses are complicated because it is a business that you're running if you're doing a YouTube channel, if you're fucking sensible about it, right? So they are reasonable and they will work with you. And if you explain to them what your financial circumstances are, within reason, they'll be flexible. I say this about HMRC. I'm sure that it's the same in America. That in America, the IRS are not complete monsters that are going to bang down your door and lock you up if you show willing. If you're willing to work with them, right, I'm fairly certain that they'll be flexible and there must be payment plans available, maybe with a bit of interest. In the UK, it's like 3 or 4% interest that you pay if you set up a payment plan, but they'll work with you. Even if you fucked up, as long as you're not a repeat offender on like a first instance, right? They will work with you and they will try and figure something out. I'm guessing. I can't imagine that they're going to be completely monstrous and be like, we're taking all your shit, because they recognize you need that to generate more income, right? But they'll help you out, right? Am I crazy? Who here? I love to do. There needs to be like a Wojak of like, I love taxes. Yes. But anyway, it's just an utterly obscenity. This person hasn't paid their taxes and they get a fucking bailout. It's just ridiculous.
His video game related content, although he is best known for the alt-right playbook and its examination of the rhetorical tactics of the far right, which has increasingly become the mainstream right, regrettably. But he does really good work.
But how do I make money?
Oh God, this again, bro.
What? Autism is evolving. Biddy boop. Your autism evolved into trueness or.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the super chat. No, it's His Majesty's Revenue and Customs, okay? What did you call it? What did you call it? Something stupid.
He doesn't have a particularly
His Majesty's Royal Collectors. No, it's not that. No.
Speedy or even really a regular upload schedule. Things are up when they're ready. He tends to get good views. Well, certainly by my metrics, he tends to get good viewer numbers. I never really checked his Patreon or anything like that, but he put out a video basically saying that...
Dude, the sweeping is unreal. No honesty about what the channel actually is. Just some sort of vagaries about what important work he does, right? But nothing to say like, hang on a minute, he's only put out this many videos that are a couple of minutes long. Literally resting on his laurels, and they're all sweeping for that. Dude, it's fucking obscene, dude. Completely unreasonable and biased sweeping analysis of the situation because their mate didn't pay their taxes. Fuck off, dude.
He was in a financial hole that had been getting deeper over time. This wasn't a case of a singular event. There wasn't like a singular medical event or, car got totaled or something like that that sent...
I was in tax trouble. There was an error and I was filing for myself while also being claimed as a dependent. I had to pay back the taxes returns I'd gotten. With the US IRS, you can set up a payment plan Otherwise, you'll pay both a penalty fee and interest fee on the taxes you owe. The plans are very generous, as low as $25 a month if you chip away at it. But if you let it sit and go defunct, it'll accrue 8% penalty and 5% interest. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's the classic thing of if you bury your head in the sand, it will just get worse and it will mount up. But if you've got any sort of money-based issues, if you just face up to it, make some phone calls, you can fucking deal with it and get it sorted out, right? You know? Little bit of fucking charm, little bit of fucking, you know, jiggery pokery, you'll be fine. Right? Clearly this fucking idiot buried his head in the sand, paid through the nose for fucking his housing and shit like that he couldn't afford. This is what fucked him over. Dude, it's so fucking obnoxious, dude. I don't even like these e-begging freaks online and shit like that. But there's like 100 trans people that are genuinely in like a worse position than fucking Ian Danskin is. And he fucking hoovers up $150,000. It's fucking obscene, dude.
Him down the spiral, he's simply like most people, whether they are self-employed and doing something like YouTube or not, the reality of being basically under 50 at this point is that you probably have more debt than you are really comfortable with.
If you work a normal job, yeah, probably. Not when you're a YouTuber earning $3,500 a month on Patreon, plus AdSense, plus whatever fucking other revenue streams. Dude, this is fucking obscene. Comparing being a YouTuber, right, which is, you will normally have a strong cash flow. You will normally have various revenue streams and little outgoings as part of your business, right? Like, it's complete cope to act like this is comparable to like a normal job where you're on a salary. It's honestly, bro, these people are supposed to be lefties. They're supposed to be left-wingers, and they're petty bourgeoisie business owners acting like they're the same as some fucking person working down the local cashier at Walmart. It's disgusting, bro. It's totally wretched and despicable that these people are presenting themselves as these paupers that are desperately trying to get by while they fuck their lives up by not paying their tax. And it's not the same. It's not equivalent. It's not the fucking same. I've done both. I've worked a normal job and I've worked this job. And I can assure you, you have to fuck up pretty badly to screw a fucking YouTube income up. That's on you at that point. That's bad, poor decision making that you are doing, okay? Holy fuck, dude.
And you may not have a plan on how to get it all paid off. Or if you do, you only have a plan to get the debt paid off, not for what you're going to do afterwards. It's a pretty common financial reality for millennials, and I have to imagine it's even worse for Gen Z. But he came forward and said that he had been basically running the channel at a loss for a while, meaning that the...
Bro, this is quite pertinent to me, okay? Because I've literally just got my tax return for 2024 to 2025, which I've got to pay at the start of next year, January 31st, 2026, right? You know, talking to my accountant, like my accountant was like, you know, oh my God, you know, he was surprised. He was fucking amazed at the sort of profitability of this sort of business, you know, because he probably deals with things where you got like loads of outgoings and shit like that. So it's just, dude, it's just complete fucking cope. If you cannot run a successful YouTube channel in a financially buoyant way, you are just fucking hopeless. You're totally hopeless, and you should go and work a normal job, bro. Not to be too fucking gauche about it, but it's very personal to me, because it's like, you know, it's not fucking difficult. What outgoings have you got as a YouTuber, right? And the thing is, you need to work within your means as well. You work within your means. You shouldn't be spending money. Like, you need to treat it like a fucking business, right? If I want to make a video. What is the realistic amount of money that I can make from a video? Okay, I'm probably going to make $2,000 from a, 200,000 view video with this many ads in. Okay. So if I know that I'm going to make $2,000 from that video, I need to make sure that I'm not putting more into that that's worth more than $2,000, right? So you need to think about your input and whether or not that's a profitable video, depending on how much you spend on it. Now, I'm quite fortunate in that streaming is quite extremely low cost and I can leech off everyone else, okay? But if you're a video producer, this is something you have to think about, right? And based on Innuendo Studios videos, the amount of money it was required to make those is not that fucking high. It's a bit of animation. It's your, sweat equity time or whatever you call it, putting into the video, right? Which is, obviously you put effort in and that's worth something, but then you're getting the reward of building your channel. So there's a lot in that as well, But you don't need much raw materials to put in to make a fucking video, do you? Especially if you've got the equipment already. Once you've got the equipment, you're fucking laughing. That's it. That's all you need. You're good to go for, a period of time until your equipment breaks or becomes outdated or whatever. It's totally obscene bullshit these people are trying to sell to their fucking lefty audience. And because they've got this parasocial attachment, they're all fucking buying it. And I'm telling you, it's complete nonsense. It's total cope.
Financial. He came forward and said that he had been basically running the channel at a loss for a while, meaning that the financial situation that he was in, the hole that he was in, kept getting deeper. And he couldn't see a way out of it other than to change how he was making a living, i.e., at the very least, severely cut back doing YouTube and find, more stable, standard work, or possibly just stop altogether.
Dude, you make money by putting videos on the internet. Put more videos on the internet, bro. Dude, put more videos on the internet. That is how you make more money. Oh my God, dude. Even if it's slop, hold your fucking nose and put the fucking video in the bag. Oh, dude, it's so obnoxious the way these people are just sweeping for these illiterate, retarded freaks, bro.
Now, what happened next was heartening, but kind of... it emphasized some of the thoughts that I already had just based on his initial video that he put out. Because what happened was that before he had even fully announced it properly that it existed, his GoFundMe campaign exceeded his acknowledged debt of $87,000. Now, to be clear, just so you understand how GoFundMe works, for him to actually pay off $87,000 worth of debt through GoFundMe, he was going to have to raise more than that because GoFundMe takes a percentage.
Wow, God. Give me more money, guys. Guys, please. Don't forget about... Guys, what about the GoFundMe fee? Give me more. This is crazy, dude. I don't know, tons of people donated. It was all fucking shilled by the breadtubers as well. They're all shilling the fuck out of it too. Oh man, very, very frustrating to have to fucking live in a world where this happens.
But as it climbed up over $150,000 worth of raising and support.
They're the neo-proletariat. The downtrodden kind who sip on Starbucks and post about the racist capitalist pigs on the construction site across the road. Hard work is oppression.
Yes. Thank you for the super chats. Yeah, dude, they don't want to actually work, right? I know that some people will get a bit funny about the concept of work, okay? But labor, in terms of making a video, that's what I'm talking about, right? Like some people go to an office, sell their labor to someone else. They're there fucking making a video and they want to do a 20-hour work week. That's the truth of it. They want to do a 10, 20-hour work week and they want to fucking slack. That's the thing, right? Whereas people that actually run successful YouTube channels are grafting, working 35, 40-hour weeks, in some cases more, to make it happen, right? Because you can't do it on a fucking skimp. You can't skimp on this shit. You can't fucking just work hard. Like, you work part-time hours, you get a part-time income, unless you're massively successful, but you don't get to be massively successful and sustain it unless you're working full-time. Who's donating? Retarded lefties who don't know any better. No, I shouldn't say that. They're too parasocially invested to see what's going on and to understand how unreasonable it is that he is asking them for more money, what with them having paid fucking thousands of dollars a month on his Patreon anyway, you know? Yes, dude, complete lack of discipline. Total lack of discipline as well, right? I'm going to be honest, guys, right? Especially recently, as you could probably imagine, right? You wake up some days, and obviously I'm wanting to do like an 8-hour stream. And as cushy as it is, sitting here in my gaming chair, ranting and saying slurs for fucking 8 hours a day, okay? Sometimes it's a bit like, I can't be bothered today. I can't be bothered. I can't be bothered, right? But you still need to have the self-motivation to just think, to push past that and to go, well, no, come on. You know, I try and think of like, okay, well, you know, in my own head, I'm like, well, come on, dude. Like, what? You're sat there in a gaming chair. It's not that big a deal. You'll find something to fucking talk about. You'll have a good laugh, whatever, da-da-da-da-da. Just put the reacts in the bag, bro, you know? Like, that is the mentality that you need to have. And this sort of arrangement where you're working for yourself, you have to be self-motivated. You have to be able to push past that little voice in your head that says, oh, don't bother today, relax, take the load off, etc., right? You need to be able to push through that and just do what needs to be done to get fucking content on your channel, come hell or high water, no matter what. And I just think these people don't have that. They don't have that drive. They don't have the vision. They don't have the fucking, you know, mentality to think, I'm going to work 40 hours this week. Not because my boss is telling me to, or I'll get in trouble if I don't turn up in the office, but because I'm self-motivated and I want to make a success of this, you know? And the tragic thing, particularly with Innuendo Studios, is he was making money. He was making money. He was spending too much. He was overspending based on what he was earning, and he didn't square the circle. He didn't bother. I'm guessing buried his head in the sand. They didn't fucking deal with it. He could have moved to a different place. He could have found other ways to reduce his outgoings. He could have found other revenue streams to increase his income, therefore enabling him to continue living the same lifestyle. But it seems like he didn't do any of that and just slowly fucking spiraled down into the ground and let it happen. Ridiculous. Totally ridiculous. It's just, honestly, it is so frustrating to see someone like that get a bailout, right? And, you know, like I say, I hate some of this e-begging lefty trans shit, but it's just so fucked because there are genuinely people out there that deserve the support more than fucking Innuendo Studios does. Innuendo Studios had his chance and he fucked it up. There's some poor fucker out there e-begging for $1,000 on GoFundMe that really fucking needs it. And fucking Innuendo Studios sucks it up into a fucking tube. Obviously, it's not a zero-sum game, but it's you know, so obnoxious because it's such an unreasonable, charitable endeavor. Bail me out because I'm a fucking retarded, you know, money-wasting idiot. It's wrong. It's fucked. So fucked, bro. It's so fucked. But anyway, it's whatever. What's done is done. It's just endlessly frustrating for me to see. At least card posting got some money out of it.
He actually turned off contributions so that people couldn't...
Actually, yeah, maybe, yeah. True, DK. It is to some extent. If you give $50 to Innuendo for his taxes, you're probably not going to give another $50 to Xanderhall. Yeah, that's a fair point, actually. Yeah, exactly. Or if you're like, got a bit more money and you sling $1,000 towards him, I mean, that might make it so you're like, okay, I've done my bit for the month for my support of a content creator. I'm not going to bother supporting everyone else. And next month, maybe I'll take a break. So yeah, maybe there is something in that.
Giving him money. At the time I'm recording that, he did that about a day ago, which I think speaks well of him. And it's something that I relate to. And again, I don't want this to really be about Ian. However, I do think that what happened to him is exemplary of something that a lot of YouTubers are really bad at acknowledging, which is that doing this as a full-time job is almost impossible.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Well, it depends what you're talking about, right? If you're talking about the broad population making a YouTube channel and making it successful, okay? I mean, obviously, you know, a few percent of people, maybe even less than that, can turn this into a meaningful income, right? Sure. But if you're in that group of people that can make it happen, it actually isn't that fucking difficult, really. As long as you're motivated, consistent, and, you know, are willing to push through your own mindset, it's actually fairly straightforward, right? Because it is just such a cash-rich business if you figure out the monetization and are willing to monetize. It's you know, not... What, like, the outgo... It's the lack of outgoings that make it so good, you know? It's just, yeah, very defeatist mindset in order to give cover to a retard that didn't pay their taxes, basically.
Now, don't get me wrong. There are success stories out there. They come in a couple of flavors. There are, of course, the corporately backed YouTube channels who basically don't really have to worry whether or not they are successful. They are a marketing arm, most likely, of somebody else. There are the not necessarily owned by a larger conglomeration, but the ones that have set themselves up to be able to crank out a lot of stuff on a quick pace. Those will be your content mills, which generally have it very carefully set up to...
Okay, Innuendo Studios doesn't need to be a fucking content mill, but you can do more than one video every 2 months, surely. I mean, bro, what do you mean? You don't need to go to a content mill level. You can release a video a week, right? 40 hours. You could do 2 videos. You could, if you're working a full-time shift, you can put 2 videos out if you're actually working, dedicated, focused. Easy, 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 easy. Even edited videos, right? Because the thing is, even if you're working on complicated projects, right? Obviously, you know, it might be at the start that it takes you a while to get the speed up, but it's a cyclical process. You'll be finishing projects, starting new ones, and the ones that you've worked on will come out and you're going to be working on ones in the future. And there's ones that you started to work on a bit before, they'll be coming out in a couple of weeks, etc. So it becomes a sort of like a cyclical process of you constantly churning and working videos and putting them out. You don't have to do it as a content mill, but you can, at 40 hours a week, easily put out a quality edited video twice a week, once a week if you want to be more cautious, okay? 20 hours for a video is not excessive, right? Now, sure, if you want to make highly edited, highly researched stuff, sure. Maybe it takes longer, but then you've got to build to a place where you can do that. You can't just do that straight off rip. And if that is not economically viable for you to do, right, then don't do it. You know, it's like, I'm sure that people set up a business with delusions of grandeur, thinking they're going to do all this crazy stuff, and then it's not the reality. So they need to knuckle down and do what needs to be done to turn over a fucking profit, right? It would be great if we lived in communism land and you could be the #1 video producer no matter what, but we don't live in that reality. You need to treat it like a business, and you might need to hold your nose and put out a bit of content that you're not 100% au fait with to get the fucking money coming in. And then, if you're successful, the money that you get will allow you to do these bigger projects. A great example of this, love him or hate him, is H-Bomber Guy. H-Bomber Guy, you know, was putting out content more consistently, little shorter videos, right? And built up to a point where he's got Patreon, he can engage with his Patreon audience, and he can put out a video a year that gets 20 million views, right? And with everything he does, that's enough to support him, whatever other income streams he's got. But you need to build up to that and you need to work towards that. And it might be that you can't make it there. And if that's the case, you've got to fucking put some videos out. And they might not be exactly what you want them to be, but that's the fucking reality that you live in.
Not put more time or money into things than they are going to get out of it in views, and then they just flood their pages with as much content as they possibly can. They don't need everything to hit. For the kind of YouTuber that I watch, and that I maybe could even be included in conversation in, but more your video essay types.
Bro, this is the second video that I've watched. I watched this person's video talking about the UK Supreme Court decision. It was badly researched, and it was them talking for 33 minutes about it. Right? This video here.
I have...
Right? Talking with a couple of interjects of images. Probably a little bit of research. Generously, this would have taken 20 hours to put together. And that's being very generous, okay? That's being extremely generous. Okay, you could probably do it in half that if you were really pushing.
There is a very small number. I mean a very small number.
Dash, I am not your personal call-out machine. No, I don't give two fucks about what Lonerbox is and what the fuck he's saying. So you can get absolutely fucked if you think I'm going to be your personal call-out machine. I don't fucking care. Dude, Lonerbox could justify the complete eradication of Gaza, and I wouldn't give two fucks about it. Go somewhere else with your petty grievances, you fucking retard. Holy fuck, dude.
Who have such strong support that they can take as long as they need. Honestly, H-Bomber guy is kind of the big one to think of in terms of that. Him, ContraPoints, you know, people who come out with a video a year.
Okay. H-Bomber guy and ContraPoints, go and actually look at their channels, okay? They worked up to this position. They worked up to this, okay? They didn't just start doing these highly edited once-a-year videos, right? They had to graft and put out regular content to get into a position where they were able to do that.
Maybe, but they have such strong, consistent support through
Why?
things like Patreon.
Why do they have strong, consistent support? It's because they put the hard miles in, and now they're in a position, and even with H-Bomber guy, right? Even with H-Bomber guy, he has got, as far as I can see, an exceptionally engaged Patreon, okay? And the reason that he's able to do that is because he constantly is putting Patreon content out. I've seen stuff he's put out that I'm interested in. I'm not a patron of his, because that would be too soy for me. But I've seen content, I'm like, I'd watch that. So clearly he's got a good thing going, and he's got good in community engagement, and he's done the hard miles of putting out his fucking regular shitter content, you know? I just don't understand why I can't make a livable wage playing on my local sports team when people like Tom Brady are able to live a life of luxury. Yes, exactly.
That they are able to work at that pace. But the thing is, unless you are part of that rarefied strata of YouTuber,
I generally make a couple of videos a month, but I have the excuse that it's a hobby I do while I work towards my degree. It's okay for a hobby to just be a hobby.
Thank you for the $10, Artemis. Thank you. Dude, there's like a sort of comic about this, I think. And it shows like, you know, someone winning a race, like the Olympics or something, and then on the gold thing. And someone says like, oh my God, how did you do that? That's crazy. And it shows you in the background, like all the stuff they've done, all the practicing and shit like that, etc., etc. I think the same thing happens here, where people look at ContraPoints and H-Bomber guy, and they're like, oh, I wish I could do that. That looks amazing. And it's like, yeah, but you need to fucking put the time in to put all the fucking shitter content out for years before you get there. You know? It's, yeah, it's you need to do that first.
which is, I'd be surprised if it's double digits, really. Then you need to be maintaining a regular output. And you need, well,
Okay.
a lot of stuff. It's very easy to make fun of YouTubers for the sponsor spots where they have to pretend that Raid Shadow Legends is
I agree with this. Obviously, I'm going to agree with this. This is a fair point.
a great video game, actually. Or they have to act like you've never heard of a VPN before, as they tell you about that. And that's some of the more scrupulous ones who actually get deals from legit organizations, or semi-legit, I guess, in the case of Raid Shadow Legends. I feel okay slagging them off. They were never going to sponsor me anyway. But, you know, things like that, limited merch runs, all these sorts of things. It's easy to mock. It's easy to mock the idea of a YouTuber going...
I mean, it is easy to mock. But do people even mock that anymore? I feel like people are very accepting now of pretty much any monetization strategy that their favorite creator wants to engage in, right? There might be a bit of a laugh about it, a bit of memes and stuff, but I don't think it's like mockery. I think people are like, yeah, we get it, you know? Make your bag type thing. The stuff that tends to get mocked is disingenuousness. like Pokemon claiming a cookies were some like custom precision fucking recipe when it was like a white label product that had some vitamin D pumped into it or something. Like that sort of stuff I think bothers people. But as long as you're upfront about it, you don't bullshit people and you tell people how it is, people don't fucking care, dude. There was a little while ago it was more like frowned upon, but now people don't give two fucks, man.
Hey, it's your boy, and we're going to talk about this crazy thing. But first, be sure to check out my merch store. Like, it's very mockable. And there are certainly some people who have done that to a level of success that far exceeds their needs. But most of them haven't. And the thing is...
It's funny how Chud says when given an easy ride. Yeah, dude. Oh, dude. Yeah, so true, isn't it? Yeah. What about all the other people that have associated with Destiny? What happened to them? Where are they now? Where are your irrelevance? Where are your fucking... Name a fucking orbiter, right? Yeah, it's so easy, isn't it? It's so easy. It's so straightforward. It's so straightforward to do this when you've been given an easy ride. Or maybe I'm doing something different that all the other people that have fallen by the wayside are not doing. Maybe there's a difference there. Think about that.
If you don't want to come across like that, and you want to be taken more seriously, which I think most video essayist style YouTubers do, doing that is hard. And admitting that you're struggling because you don't do that is harder. The reason in this title I said your favorite YouTubers and not just YouTubers in general is that it is the kind of YouTuber and YouTube channel that I think my audience tends to like that is the hardest. Because the returns that we get for the videos that we put out are not what you think.
Like, this is bullshit. No, total bullshit. I don't accept this. This is fucking insane lies. This is just a lie. This is a total fucking lie. Okay? This is a cope. If you are not making good money off of your videos, that's a you problem. You're either not putting enough content out, you're not making long enough videos to run ads, or you're not meaningfully monetizing it in other ways. No, I don't buy this.
Not even on the successes. And I'm going to do something that I didn't even do last time I talked finances. I'm going to give you some hard numbers. Here are the 2 most successful videos I have ever made in terms of revenue. They also happen to be my 2 most successful videos in terms of views. Now, here's what you really need to realize.
Right. Okay. So, let's do a little bit of basic maths, shall we? Let's do a little bit of basic maths, right? Okay. If 400,000 views across, obviously there's variances with ad rates and the amount of ads in the video and how long it is and stuff like that, right? Okay. If 420,000 views are yielding a $2,800 revenue, okay, right? What does that tell you? Well, that tells you, okay, that if you want to make, say, double that, you need to double the views. And if you want to triple that, you need to triple the views as a rough guideline, okay? So there's 2 ways that you can do that. The first and riskier way is to try and produce and put something out that you are so tapped in to the market that you've got a good belief that it's going to do better. So you double both the next 2 videos you do, you double the views on it through that method, okay? In theory, you're going to get double the revenue, right? So that's one way of looking at it, okay?
Okay, that's wonderful. But how do I make money?
Thank you for the membership.
Cybertaz became a member. Cybertaz celebrates 6 months of membership. Catching up at 3x all today has been was gok, and now a thing that had a gok.
Thank you for the membership. So that's kind of option 1, probably a bit riskier, okay? Option 2 is you put out more content with a view to getting, say, you put out 4 more videos that each get roughly 100,000 views each, in theory, hopefully, and then you're doubling your income that way, right? So if you're talking purely about videos, that's what you need to do. And you can't get around it. There's no other way of doing it. There's no other method of doing it if you're talking about views and AdSense. That is how you've got to do it. There is no other way, okay? So that's how you got to look at it. Now, if for whatever reason you don't or can't do that, well, you need to then find other revenue streams. So if you want to double your income, you want to get an extra $3,000 odd in the kitty, okay? You need to stream, you need to get sponsorships, okay? Or alternatively, the other thing is you need to... What the fuck is that? You need to do merch or something, right? So it's like, dude, it's so obscene, man. It is such a simplistic model. Either get more views by making better videos to get more views, or increasing your output, or increase the amount of revenue streams that you've got, or do a mixture of them. This ain't fucking rocket science, bro. This ain't fucking complicated, dude.
I know this is not going to reach the audience that I need it to, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. So I cannot be the only one who has noticed way more mid-roll ads on videos on YouTube.
Wow. Well, actually, that's just made me think. There is another way that you can increase the income on the same viewership. Increase the amount of ads in your video. But it seems like this person isn't up for that because they're a fucking idiot. Bro, what a fucking moron, dude. What a total moron.
And even in some cases, seeing mid-roll ads placed on the videos of people who I know for a fact do not place mid-roll ads.
Can you explain it again slower?
Thank you for the super chat.
On their videos. So creators, start going through your videos, or have somebody on your team, if you have a team, start going through your videos, check for mid-roll overload. This same thing happened when they initially...
Bro, mid-roll overload. I call that bit more money in the Bunsen burner, personally. Okay, people do not care about ads to that level, okay? Right? If people are that fucking bothered, they'll use that should not be named, or they'll get YouTube Premium, and you'll get a few cents off a view on them anyway, okay? This is an utterly retarded thing that a YouTuber should be thinking of, okay? You should be concerned. Dude, look at these. These are my most successful videos and they're only making this much money. By the way, lots of mid-roll ads are bad. Well, yeah, suck it up. That's how you make your fucking dollar. But get the fucking mid-roll ads in there.
Introduced the automatic mid-roll placement years ago, and they did a major update to that system, and it's clearly done it again, where it has placed a whole bunch of mid-roll ads where they weren't before. I've checked my own stuff, and while I'm not finding it on as many things as I found it on last time they pulled this, I am finding it. And to give you an idea, mid-roll ads on my YouTube videos, I drop them anywhere between every 8 to 15 minutes.
My videos aren't making that much money. Look at all the views. I place videos every 8 to 15. 15 minutes. Bro, you're not network television, okay? The ad placement on network television, the cost for running an ad every 15 minutes, okay, is fucking insane normally. Like, you get a tremendous amount of money. Paying the network will get loads of money running an ad at 15 minutes. It's a premium spot, okay? You ain't the fucking Super Bowl, right? 8 minutes is probably the, minimum, the maximum spacing that you want, right? If you're serious about fucking monetizing this shit, right? You are going to want to run probably 4 minutes for every 4 minutes, right? Maybe for a longer video, you might reduce the amount of mid-rolls that you run for the last hour, last hour or something. You might consider doing that because less people are watching then anyway. So maybe you might be a bit more flexible at the back end of the video. But, the reality is you've got to stuff your video with ads. That's the way you make money. It's just what it is, dude. If that's uncomfortable to you, get another fucking job. Dude, 8 to 15 minutes is fucking wild. Like, you've got to have some consideration for the user experience. But you're not a fucking charity. And it isn't your fucking lookout either. YouTube obviously are fucking part of this too. And you're beholden to the rates that YouTube pay you for ads. And if you've got to run more ads to make your videos more profitable, then that's the way the cookie crumbles. This is like, bro, it's like basic business principles these people don't fucking understand. It's like such a simplistic concept, bro.
Depending on the length of the overall video and the flow of it. What the automatic placement will do is place one within the first...
Yeah, dude, You could craft the perfect fucking flow of ads and stuff like that. But if the video is not profitable for you, or it doesn't bring in enough revenue for you, what's the fucking point, bro? What is the point, dude? Maybe you can run this if you're like a bigger channel and you're successful and you can treat it more almost like a network type situation, right? Where you are running ads every 15 minutes. But if you're like a jobbing YouTuber, you should be packing as many fucking ads as you can into your channel. And you should feel zero shame in doing so, because that's how you make your money, right? What would you rather, right? A few viewers are a little bit happier because there's less ads, or you get fucking paid at the end of the month. I know what I'd prefer. Dude, these people are idiots. They're total morons, bro. They don't run their channels correctly. And then, to be fair, this person is saying they're doing okay, but they don't run their channels correctly. And then they're surprised when they're fucking failing.
First 2 minutes and then another one within the first 5. So that is the rapidity with which these things are being placed. And I am finding it on videos, including significantly older videos from creators who I know didn't put them there like that. So please, spread this around to creators that you are seeing this with. If you are seeing way more mid-roll ads than you used to on creators you enjoy, say something in the comments, because most...
Bro, hassle other creators about the amount of ads that... Dude, fucking hell, dude.
Most of them probably aren't directly managing this stuff and don't realize it's happening, or they're only managing their newer videos and don't realize that it's happening to their older ones. Again, I don't expect this.
Oh no, there's a bunch of ads on an old video. Whatever will I do? Bro, dude, it's such a stupid concern. It's antithetical. It's antithetical to running your business effectively. This is insane.
Word to get out to the degree that it needs to actually address the damn problem, but I'm doing what I can. I know that.
Also, bro, can we just talk about like what is going on here, man? What are we even looking at here, dude? What is this fucking? Look at the way it. I don't want to speak to you. I don't want to get in trouble for the TOS, okay? But fucking hell, dude. Bit much, isn't it? Bit much for the old palate to fucking. Okay. Anyway, go on.
Are the 2 most successful videos I have ever made in terms of revenue. They also happen to be my 2 most successful videos in terms of views. Now, here's what you really need to realize. That was an extreme rarity for me. I have new videos out every week. They do not make that. They don't even come close to making that.
So you've got, right. So you need to increase your, well, she, fucking hell, dude. Getting woke all of a sudden. Okay. This beautiful woman, right? This beautiful woman is presenting this and says they're doing fine. They say they're doing fine. Fair enough, right? But there's solutions to these problems that you're presenting, and it involves you putting more content out, running more ads, or, you know, tailoring and tweaking what you're putting out to specifically target the market sector that you're concerned with to increase your viewership. Do collaborations. I don't know, there's a multitude of things you can do really, but those are like the basics. Like, this is like a worthless complaint, you know? There's things I can do to maximize revenue in my business and I'm not doing them. Okay, well, do that then. And if you don't do it and don't make as much money, well, that's fucking your lookout, isn't it? Dude, so stupid.
That needs to be understood, that those made that much money, well, for 2 different reasons. One, in the case of the James Somerton video, because it hit that number very quickly. And the other, the Neil Gaiman video, took longer to break 200,000, but it was long, so it had a really good watch time length. It is not a hard metric. If you get so many views, you get so much money. It's not even a hard metric of you get so much watch time, you get so much money. Because there are videos that I have, simply because of the nature of the topics that I was talking about, that despite the view number, made way less money than it makes sense for them to have made.
Okay, we'd obviously need to look at this, but like, what was your ad? I mean, what was the ad density? Sounds like you favor quite a low ad density. So maybe that had an impact. You know, maybe the watch time wasn't as good. You know, there's lots of factors that go into it.
If you look at other things that had comparable viewing numbers. And understand, I've got a lot of advantages. I have significantly less debt than is typical for somebody of my age. And that's not a brag,
Low CPM?
that's privilege.
Oh, by the way, and fixed. I found out who you are. I know who you are in Fixed. I found out. Know who you are. Know who you are.
And I'm well aware of that. I talked in more detail about why that's the case for me in last year's video, so I won't reiterate too much of that here. But you need to understand, and I think we as YouTubers need to be better about communicating how hard this is to do. Because from most viewers' perspective, watching YouTube...
Wait, sorry, I missed something there. What was it? What?
Numbers. Debt than is typical for somebody of my age. And that's not a brag, that's privilege. And I'm well aware of that. I talked in more detail about why that's the case for me in last year's video, so I won't reiterate too much of that here. But you need to understand, and I think we as YouTubers need to be better about communicating how hard this is to do.
People don't give two fucks, bro. People do not give two fucks. First of all, you're fucking dishonest wretch, idiot, can't run a business properly. Well, you can run a business properly, I guess, but your colleagues are terrible at running a business, okay? But also, people don't fucking care, dude. Put the fucking content in the bag, little bro, okay? They've got their own problems. They've got their own fucking jobs to worry about, right? They need to drive an hour to get to their office, to get chewed out by the retarded boss, to do a shitty job they don't really want to do, to come home and watch you. They don't want to see you sit there fucking talking about how hard it is to sit there editing a video about, you know, how hard it is to be. They don't want to sit there, you talking about a video, talking about how hard it is to be a YouTuber. Like, it's, you know, it's obscene. It's totally obscene. And people don't give two fucks, right? People are fairly generous in terms of like, if a couple of gripes here and there, people are willing to hear, it's fine, right? But you are suggesting like unloading all this job trauma onto people that are just not going to fucking care. Well, to be fair, these fucking lefties are total morons. So they'll probably be like, "Oh, it's so hard, isn't it? It's so tough for you as a creative." But you know,
because from most viewers' perspective, watching YouTube is free. You watch the ads and you assume people get paid fairly. And whether or not it's fair for the amount of views we get, that's a whole other conversation that could be had. It's almost as if YouTubers should consider unionizing for better.
Bro, I'm not against the idea of getting a thicker slice of the pie from YouTube, okay? However, YouTube have set up an absolutely tremendous infrastructure to allow you to capitalize on, okay? Instant access, global videos, and you can upload, create and upload. You don't have to pay anything to do that. You pay zero to utilize YouTube's network. And the obviously idea is that you get paid by doing that. Like, YouTube isn't perfect. If there's a bigger slice to be had, sure, okay? But this absolutely bizarre entitlement that you just should get more money from YouTube with the amount they're providing for you. It's like, it is this entitled mentality that you're almost like, we're entitled to this fucking infrastructure, you know? And also, this unionization talk is retarded, man. Like, you know, a bunch of small shitter breadtubers get together, exactly, and say, we want more money. And you should go, no, we're not going to do that. We'll go on strike then. And then what happens? Oh, dude, bro. Do you remember the YouTube? Oh, my God. There was a YouTube strike in 2019. A bunch of retarded leftoids tried to do some stupid YouTube strike. Totally worthless. Didn't do anything. We're not going to upload our breadtube videos. Like, literally not even a fucking dip in YouTube's viewership and revenue. Yes. There's a Vosh video talking about it. I thought it was stupid at the time. I thought it was dumb. But yeah. Yeah. Old law.
Better bargaining positions and more universal standards. But like that's never going to freaking happen. Oh, and since I brought up ads a minute ago, can we talk about how having integrity costs you a lot? YouTubers have the ability to set manual mid-roll ads. This is something that I do to ensure that where an ad is placed doesn't badly interrupt the flow of the video, and also it's not overloaded with them.
35-minute video, 3 ad breaks, and they're wondering why they're not making enough money. Give me a dude. This is fucking ridiculous, bro. This is like someone, right, trying to do the consumer a good deed and, you know, charging just above cost price for their fucking product or cost price for their product and wondering why they're not making any money. Why am I not making money? I'm giving such a good deal to the customers. Because you're not doing it right. You're not setting it up right for success. Dude, this is fucking ridiculous. I'm sorry, you cannot fucking tailor it to this level and expect to run a successful business. You know, they say they're doing okay. They could be doing much better though. They could be fucking making mountains of cash out of this if they wanted to. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? People might gripe. People might moan a little bit.
Okay, that's wonderful.
What does it
But how do
matter?
I make
Also, what's this
money
integrity
off the
shit?
people?
How is it a lack of integrity to do something that brings you in more money, right? That's the way that YouTube works. That's not a lack of integrity. Running your business efficiently. God, these people are so fucking retarded, dude. Thank you, Artemis, for the super chats.
My main channel videos usually do 2 mid-roll ads, occasionally 3. Over in the break room of Geeks, where videos are shorter, I usually only have 1. But this is what mid-roll ad placement looks like when I leave it to YouTube's automated system. This is how often they want ads to be played. And I don't let them do this. But
Wow.
it would mean more money for me if I did. The idea of
Right. So it would mean more money for you. It's the way that YouTube want it done because they obviously get more money and you're resisting that for some reason. I put an ad every 5 minutes and I let YouTube fill the gaps with more ads. Based. Yes. That's what I'm talking about. Yes.
interrupting every couple of minutes for an ad potentially just makes me feel gross. And I can't even quantify for you what it costs me to not run more ads. But I
Look, these videos are not making as much, don't make as much money as you think. I'm not running ads enough because it makes me feel bad. Dude, this is bizarre, dude. It's your fucking fault. It's your problem. That's on you then. That's your fucking lookout. You are intentionally deciding to harm your business by making a decision for some ethical purpose. That's fucking up to you. Don't fucking moan about it then, you stupid bint. Fuck me, bro.
I look at what happened to Ian, and I don't mean this as a criticism directed to him, but I cannot help but think how much less money would have had to have been raised if he had said earlier, I'm in a hole and it's getting deeper.
Oh, we should have started e-becking sooner. That's the problem. Oh, not, maybe he should have run his business a bit more astutely. No, he should have started e-begging sooner. Oh, dude, this is unbelievable, bro. God, dude, these people are so retarded, dude.
Instead of waiting until, oh, I can't get out of this hole and I need to stop. I think it's very clear from the response that happened to his GoFundMe.
Maybe he should have paid his taxes. I don't know. Crazy concept, I know. But you know that entity that can imprison you if you don't pay them? Maybe that should be your fucking priority. Oh my God, dude.
That people would have stepped up. People did step up. And I think the kind of YouTuber that he is and that I am to a lesser degree, and I don't mean that I think my output is less, it's just I'm not really trying to do what he's trying to do most of the time. But the thing about that type of YouTuber, video essayists, people who are putting a lot of effort in, people who are by and large one-person operations, the vast majority of YouTubers in this kind of space making this kind of content, it is a one-person.
Just again to really show you. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, not including his e-begging video. Okay. So 5 videos in the course of a year. 22, 26, about 50 minutes. 50 minutes of video content released in a year over 5 videos. I mean, what are we talking about here, dude? This is absolutely fucking delusional cope. He's not doing anything! He's not doing any videos! Bro! 50 minutes is shameful. Now look, I'm a live streamer. It's different for me. I get to leech off everyone else, okay? But what is the fucking calculation on that? How many work hours are there based on... Let's I tell you what, right? Let's give Ian a break. Work hours, 30 hours a week for a year. What's the... I'm not good at mental arithmetic. What's the fucking math? What's the maths on that? How many work hours is that? And bear in mind, it's 30 hours. We're giving his back a bit of a break. Not that he needs it more, but you know what I mean. He's, he doesn't have to go full throttle. What are we talking? 1,560 work hours for 50 minutes of video. That is fucking disgusting. Shameful behavior. That is absolutely disgusting. That is his output. Dude, you'd be out the door and your feet wouldn't touch the floor if you'd produced that little work in that many man hours. You would be fucking fired. You'd be gone. You'd be fucking gone. This deranged, bro. You can't do it. It's fucking insane, bro. 51 minutes of product for 1,560 man hours. What are we doing here, bro? What are we doing? What are we talking about here, dude? Fucking hell. Fuck, mate. It is shameful. And these people are all just completely fucking cocksucking him. It's disgusting.
An operation. They write it themselves. They are the talent. They have to
I have an idea how to make a quick 10,000 Brazilian dollars. Okay,
edit it. If there are any bespoke, unique art assets, they either have to make it themselves or they got to commission somebody to do it. And anything that they don't do themselves, they are probably paying somebody to do. I pay my thumbnail guy, Joel. He's amazing because I suck at thumbnails. And he's great. But everything else, I do myself. I do my own editing. If I script in full, I have to write it myself. I can't afford to outsource that. And a lot of other people doing the same thing also can't afford to outsource it. And even those who do, some of them don't want to because editing is part of the excitement of the process for them. But that results in a larger commitment of time. And I think a lot of us are...
Wow. Once again, retards not understanding basic business principles, okay? You do something for yourself. If you have to, if you can afford to, you then outsource it and you save yourself a bit of time to maybe focus on some other aspect of your business that you can invest time in to improve some aspect of it, to improve profitability. Either you put in the hours to do it or you pay someone to do it and free yourself up, whatever you need to do. Dude, it's like, imagine a CEO sat there, right, of a fucking business and saying this shit. Oh, God, I've got to fucking mop the toilets again. I ain't mopping the toilets. Pay someone to mop the toilets then if you don't want to fucking do that, right? And if you don't have the profitability to do that, we'll figure out a way to increase your profitability. Dude, it's fucking... I'm a retard and I don't understand basic business principles, but I found myself running a YouTube channel. I didn't pay my taxes and I'm $70,000 in debt. And now that's your problem. Give me money, please. Oh, dude, it's fucking infuriating, bro.
We're really good at undervaluing our own time. And as a result, we don't really let you know how hard this is. One of the folks who I talked to last year was Scott Nicewander, who runs NerdSync, which is significantly more successful than my channel. But one of the things he noted is he's really only able to keep doing that.
Total queer looking
because
guy.
of the fact that his wife has a full-time job. And I am pretty upfront at this point about the fact that I'm only able to do this because I came into this situation with significantly less debt than is common for my age demographic. And if I'd had more, I don't know what kind of situation I'd be in. I don't know what kind of condition I'd be in. And I also understand...
if you've got debt, you probably shouldn't try and become self-employed. That's probably... Unless you've got a good means or way to be able to, in a consistent fashion, make money. Becoming self-employed when you're in debt is probably quite difficult. Unless you've got a quick, easy money maker to get money coming in quickly. You're probably better off sustaining a normal job, so you've got a regular income to bring your debt down, and then do this as a sideline, and you can slowly build up. And then if that takes off, clear your debt with your normal job, you're fucking laughing. Yeah, if you've got debt, you need income. Crazy take, I know. Crazy concept.
Talk about this. The reluctance to even push the stuff that would help us. Like, yeah, sure. I plug my Patreon at the end of every video. How many people stick around to the very end of the video? I'll tell you, the percentage is low.
Right. So, let's have a little think about this, okay? So, as you would expect, the majority of people, everyone, unless they immediately click into the middle for some reason, is going to be watching at the start of the video. And there's much fewer watching at the end. So what do you think you might do in this, based on this information that you've got? What would be the best thing to do in this situation? Maybe it might be to talk about your Patreon at the start of the video. Maybe that might be a good idea. Maybe it might be a good idea to front load ads so that you benefit from the sort of curve here. Bro, it's just like easy solutions. Right, problem, easy solution. Still complaining about it. What? Just fucking implement the solution, you stupid bitch. Put your Patreon at the start. It's not fucking rocket science, dude.
So by putting it at the end, out of fear of being obtrusive, of asking too much of my audience, of taking advantage of my viewers.
How is it taking advantage of your viewers to say when everyone's watching, hey guys, I've got a Patreon if you want to support me? It's up to them at the end of the day. Oh my God, dude. This is all like in your head.
I stick it at the back where almost nobody sees it. Hey, let's do the plug now, Patreon. It is how I'm able to do this as my living. Not on its own. Even that, while I have a pretty successful Patreon, especially for the size of a channel that I have, that wouldn't cover my bills alone either.
Bro, it's like, dude, right, I've got these leaflets to advertise my business, right? I could either be a little bit of an inconvenience and go and ask people to put them up in prominent places around town, okay? Or I could go to the back of a strip club where no one goes and pin them all up there. Like, bro, obviously, yeah, go and put them around town where people are going to see the fucking advert. Yeah, you might be a bit inconvenient, you might be a bit assertive about it, but that's going to have a far better outcome for you. Dude, it's like basic. This is like, it feels like this is the stuff they teach you at the first fucking lesson of business class, dude. This ain't fucking complicated. What, dude? This is bizarre.
I need this and that and the other stuff that I do.
Oh,
as well.
dude,
If I didn't...
bro, Jason Lee. Oh, bro. Oh, fucking dude, this is such a good point, man. Patreon and mid-roll interruptions are asking too much of the viewer, but asking them to pay your tax debt isn't. What a fucking insane point, dude. Yes, dude, that's so true. I'm gonna run my business badly because I don't want to bother the audience. But then I'm not going to pay my tax bill and ask them for 100k to clear it, and that makes sense apparently. Dude, what? It's so stupid, bro. It's such a stupid mindset. How this is so retarded, dude.
Didn't have all of it, I'd be in trouble. And we're not upfront about that. And I think it's because people have a sense of shame about financials, especially if they're struggling. Our society, this capitalistic society where
I would say that Innuendo Studios was pretty fucking shameless, to be
But
honest
how
with
do I
you.
make money off depressed people?
COVID and normalizing working from home going forward has been a disaster to a lot of people. Most have no self-control but insist they need to.
Thank you for
Okay,
the
that's
super
wonderful.
chats,
But
guys.
how do I make money off depressed people?
I pay the people that entertain me whenever I can. It's voluntary. Have some money, Chud.
Flower Sunshine, thank you for the super chats.
money equals success, money equals validation, we feel like failures when we need financial help.
Innuendo Studios is unquestionably a failure. Yes, I mean, dude, what is this conversation, man? He ran his YouTube channel badly, didn't pay his taxes, and had to ask for his audience to bail him out. Yes, that's a fail. That is a fail state. Correct.
And that can make it easier to get into bigger holes that are necessary. And like, I understand that fear. Like I said, it's not just a matter of the cliche of the YouTuber who opens all overly happy, plugs the Patreon immediately, and then pimps their merch, and then 10 minutes into the video stops and does an ad read for a mobile game. It's not just that. There are legitimate grifter tactics that work but make you feel gross. And that can include being upfront or exaggerating how much help you need or the kind of financial hole you're in. I'd say my go-to example of that is Alex Jones, who for a long time rode the idea of he was going to go broke in a matter of months very successfully as a fundraising tactic. That was just always part of his pitch.
We got to fund this operation. We got the very best nutraceuticals out there. I don't know if I can run this for another week or so. We want to run it through the end of the month, but that's like 11 days.
If you don't help...
Bro. Based. That's funny. Dude, I'm right. I mean, to be fair, it's, you know, Alex Jones got kind of a bit pretty fucked over with that massive fucking court case, so good luck to him.
If you don't buy my marked up supplements and merch and all this other stuff that if you were to get equivalents anywhere else would cost you significantly less.
Bro, how, dude? Yes. You are criticizing Alex Jones for something that your mate Innuendo Studios has done. Innuendo Studios has done exactly the same thing, but the other way round. He's waited till he's actually failed to fucking e-beg. With, what was it? The perception of sincerity fucking grift he was talking about in the other video from years ago. Bro. Or isn't Alex Jones bad for, you know, suggesting that the channel isn't going to continue unless they support me? But when Innuendo Studios suggests the channel isn't going to continue unless you support him, that's fine apparently.
But if you don't buy it from me, I will go under.
Also,
that was his whole...
whatever you say about Alex Jones, he is a fucking grafter, okay? He is slamming content out left, right, and center. He is a fucking hard-working, conspiracy fucking crazy guy, right? He fucking puts hell to leather to get content out there.
Whole thing. And it was a grift. He rode that to great success for a long time. And we don't want to be that. But there has to be a middle ground. There has to be
the absolute gall of saying this when they're talking about Innuendo Studios doing exactly that. Oh my god, bro. I hate these people. I literally despise. With every ounce of my being, these people are just dishonest fucks, total liars, total fucking grifters, lying to your face, criticizing Alex Jones for something Innuendo Studios that you're fucking shilling in this video is doing the other way around. Fuck me, dude.
A space between says you're about to go under even when you're not, and then just pockets the money and never says you need help until you are at the point where you have to actually stop doing the thing that people love. I would hope, it's a vain hope, but I would hope that maybe a conversation that can happen around Ian and leaping off from Ian. It doesn't really need to be about him. Again, dude's got his own stuff to deal with. He's got a financial situation to fully sort. And as someone who, never to that dollar amount, but as someone who has been shocked at the support that I've gotten when I had a Kickstarter hit its goal within the first 24 hours and I cried live on a live stream because of it. Like, I understand how overwhelming that sense of support is. And I understand that you can feel scummy when you think, am I taking advantage of it? Am I using my audience like a piggy bank? Well, first of all, as long...
Bro. Oh my god, dude. Innuendo Studios has just shamelessly done this. He has used his audience like a fucking piggy bank with no shit. Dude, I can't. This is unbearable. The bullshit these retards are spouting, man.
As long as you are upfront and honest and are not saying anything that is untrue about your financial situation, and as long as they understand what they are getting in exchange for the assistance, which is to continue to get what they've always gotten from you. As long as you're not overselling, as long as you're not lying about the situation, why you need it or how much, you're not taking advantage of them. They want to help. But we have instilled
No.
so much in
No,
this.
no. Look, reasonable monetization, right? Fair trade, okay? I'm making content. If you want to support me, chuck some cash away if you really feel like it. Boom, right? There we go. Fine. The unreasonableness is the way that Innuendo Studios did it. And he put this emotional pressure on. It was based on this sincerity of principle of sincerity stuff we talked about before. You know, it was for his own misdeeds and misgivings. Also, another thing to note about Innuendo Studios thing, he didn't really explain the tax thing, did he? He didn't really get into the tax thing, right? He very much brushed over that and was like mentioned briefly some 30% tax that contractors or whatever have got to pay. And he briefly skimmed over that. And then in the fucking GoFundMe, tax was the big fucking big bulk of that. But he didn't really explain it, did he? He didn't really explain what had happened. That's not very transparent, is it? Right? Transparency would be saying, look, I didn't pay my taxes. Here's why. Laying it all out. He skimmed over it. He skimmed over it very fucking quickly.
This country, financial help is a mark of failure. It's a mark of weakness. To ask for it is pathetic. It's not.
It depends why you're asking for that. If it's for your own retarded decisions,
that's
yeah. But if it's like an
But how do
unseen
I
medical
make
bill, no.
money off depressed people.
Is part of all this vocal support just them priming the pump for when they need their audiences to bail them out in a year's time?
Possibly. Thank you, Brandon, for the super chats.
We need help. All of us. At some point, we will need help. Probably financial. It's not a moral failing to ask for help. But it's so important to project the idea that we know what we're doing. We're successful at this. Fake it till you make it. God damn it. And never stop, even as you're drowning. That's not good for us. And it doesn't help our audience. Now, of course, you can overshare. You can, even if you're being completely honest and not exaggerating anything, you could start to make,
Also, can I just say, this lipstick color, okay, is not doing anything for them. There's this tendency amongst certain trans people to wear very dark lipstick, and it just doesn't look right. I think more subtle tones will probably be good, because it tends to accentuate the very masculine lips. You know what I'm talking about? Very common trope. I don't know where they get it from. I don't know where it comes from. But yeah. Just try something a bit more subtle going forward with my advice.
Even just your social media presence, too much about, this stuff. And yeah, you could start putting off your audience. I'm not saying that's not a risk. But to my fellow YouTubers, you have an audience that loves what you do.
Hey!
And would be sad if it went away.
Would you? Would you guys?
Or at least if you've made this your full-time job, you should have that. And if you do,
hopefully, they
are willing to help. And it is possible to allow them and to ask for that help without flat out taking advantage of
from experience.
Thank you, Silent but Dudley, for the super chat. Exactly.
It is a power you need to be careful not to abuse, but it's not a failing to ask for help. And
the reason with YouTube, I think it is a failing to ask for help, with some exceptions. If you're in America and you get some massive cancer treatment, although, yes, you should have fucking health insurance. Like, let's say some 20-year-old, right, has got a massive YouTube channel and they get medical bills that are beyond their cash flow. And they, distributing, I'd be like, okay, fair enough, right? But you're talking about financial decisions about your business that have fucked you over. That is a failing. You have failed. You failed to run your business successfully. So it's completely reasonable to call that like a failure.
I really, really hope that there could be a shift in the mentality. I guess we'll start with me. I did say at the front, I'm fine. And I am. I'm not in jeopardy. But I am ultimately living off the self-employment.
The trans hack is that if the lipstick color matches your tip, it will be your perfect shade. Wow. That sounds totally fucking horrendous. Thank you for sharing that with me. Thank you.
Equivalent of paycheck to paycheck. I get paid by...
Whoa, hold on. Paycheck to paycheck with all that fucking Zog Chow behind you? I don't think so. I don't fucking think so.
Fine. And I am. I'm not in jeopardy. But I am ultimately living off the self-employment equivalent of paycheck to paycheck.
Dude, the paycheck to paycheck thing is one of the most frustrating things that I hear, okay? Because paycheck to paycheck, it's obviously a more colloquial term, but it's supposed to mean that with, a basic budget, you are barely making it to the next payday before you then get new funds that you can live with, okay? But for these people, paycheck to paycheck also normally includes massive budgets for luxury purchases that you don't actually need, right? Paycheck to paycheck, spending $500 a month on fucking DoorDash or something like that. It's like, that's not paycheck to paycheck, right? If you've got enough room in your budget for significant expenditure on luxuries, you're not truly living paycheck to paycheck, right? Because you could cut that budget in half even, and you'd be tucking away $250 a month, right? You're fucking laughing. More like living DoorDash to DoorDash. Yes, exactly. Dude, that's actually a great one. I'll remember that one. That's a good one. But yeah, I think paycheck to paycheck needs to be retired as a term because people just don't understand what it means,
I get paid by YouTube monthly, and I get paid by Patreon monthly. Now that gets supplemented with much smaller weekly infusions from my OnlyFans and a few other sites.
Wait, what? What was that? Did I hear that correctly? I know the joke's coming. Don't worry, guys. I've heard it all before. What was that again? Oh! Mitchell Smith. Thank you very much for the very generous 20 gifted. Thank you for that. Well, I know what I'm spending that on, guys.
So say we all became a member.
Oh. Thank you, Mitchell, for the 20 gifted. That is insanely generous. Thank you.
Like the YouTube monthly, and I get paid by Patreon monthly. Now that gets supplemented with much smaller weekly infusions from my OnlyFans and a few other sites like that. But
a few other sites like that. God, Council of Geeks is running a fucking industrial porn complex out of that fucking Zog Chow room. What the fuck? Oh my God. Anyway, I'm just looking at something on my second I'm just having a little look at the old second monitor here. Just having a little butcher, seeing what's going on there. Come on, I'm looking at this. Okay, are you ready for this? Are you guys ready for this? I don't think you're ready for this. Their Patreon alone is yielding a revenue of $2,261 a month. Less fees, call it $2,000 a month. And that's just their Patreon. That's just their Patreon. Bro. Paycheck to paycheck on 2K plus whatever the YouTube's making, plus whatever these other revenue streams are. Yeah, okay, dude. Right. I'm sure paycheck to paycheck is I'm sure it's minimum expenditure that you're doing. No other fucking luxury. I'm sure of it. Dude, total bullshitters, man. Total fucking bullshit artists. Just totally full of shit, man. Totally full of shit. Paycheck to paycheck. Give me a fucking break, dude.
I don't really have much ability
Council
to
of God.
build up
Okay,
a savings. I'm okay. I even managed to get one of my credit cards paid off earlier this year. The one with the lowest debt on it. But still, it's my intention to keep it that way. But the reality is, if I have a medical event, if my car breaks down, or if something happens with my kid, like that credit card's going to get maxed out again immediately.
Mummy? Why they've got a kid as well? Okay, I don't like bringing kids into it, so we won't We won't do that, guys. Okay, forget that. Whatever. I'm not. I hope they're flourishing. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about that.
And I won't be able to pay it down again for years. The reality is that I am fine so long as nothing goes wrong. And that's not really stability. I don't have to worry where my next meal is coming from. But I do have to hope nothing goes wrong.
Dude, there are people out there that genuinely are in a precarious position where a significant unseen circumstantial bill could throw them for six and fuck their life up, right? Dude, why is this fucking... Oh, bro. Come on. Look at that pause. Look at that pause, dude. Look at that pause. I just fail that it just seems absolutely insane to me to act like a YouTuber is reasonably in this position at this level, making this much money off Patreon alone. I don't buy it. I do not buy it. It's ridiculous. Like, your expenditure is clearly too high if you are living paycheck to paycheck. You know? Like, you should be putting money away in an emergency fund so that if something terrible happened, you'd have a few grand to draw on. Like, this fucking basic shit, dude.
And I say that from I know full well, much more privileged and stable position than a lot of YouTubers I know, including ones significantly larger than me. Doing this job is wonderful.
Okay, bro. Why did you post that? And do not go into general chat in Discord. Do not go to... Alert! Alert! Gok alert! Do not go to general chat in my Discord right now. Do not look, dude. I just got flashbanged, bro. I just oh my god, bro. Who, dude? It's funny, so we shouldn't ban them for it. But it is probably a bit too much, dude. It's probably a bit too much. Oh, don't. Okay, they're not banned. They're not banned. Okay. Oh my god, dude. Oh my god. Oh, that was. Oh, good lord. Dude, that was fucking insane, dude. Who the fuck did that, man? That was ridiculous. It wasn't anything triple X, okay? Oh, yes. Someone sent it to DK. DK, put it in. Yes, dude, that's going in the thumbnail straight away. And oh, how about, mate? Why don't you as you normally like to do? Why don't you do a little bit of research? I know you really like digging into a topic for photo for a thumbnail. Why don't you have a little butchers and see what you could find, mate?
Filling. Especially if you can approach it in a way that
but
doesn't
I have it.
make
They
it
deleted
feel
it.
like you had to sell out your morals and your principles. And if you can find a way to take things that you love to talk about and make a living off that, this is a dream.
All I'll say is, okay? I'll just say this. I can see why they're not making much money off of their OnlyFans, all right? The churn rate on that bad boy's got to be pretty high. Someone is like, oh, a nice trans honey for me to have a little look at and then load that. Ah, no! Cancel before... Look, quickly, I need to cancel it now. This is too much.
Dream job.
Oh my god, dude.
But it's also almost impossible to make a living doing. And a lot of people that you probably think are doing well aren't. At best, they're probably okay, but that's about it. Or they might be in trouble. And afraid to say it. I'm not, thankfully. But I also had the experience earlier this month where, long story made short, my Patreon payment got held up. I've been paid on the same day of the month for the years.
Okay, dude. 12 years ago. I mean, to be fair, maybe they didn't pick up for a while. Oh my god.
The more superficial things that kept recurring.
What the fuck? I didn't rip D. That's crazy. But yeah, you would have to be managing your your business financial affairs very poorly, that a held up payment would cause significant strife, right? When you've been doing it for this long, you should have a bit of profit knocking about in your business account that it doesn't matter if a payment is delayed. I mean, obviously, you know, there's situations where like MCNs haven't paid YouTubers for months. That's a bit different. That's something where I can easily see that's going to cause massive issues. But if we're talking about one payment getting delayed, I mean, that's just the nature of the beast, and that's occasionally going to happen. And you should have adequate resources to cover a sort of one-off temporary issue like that.
That I have been on Patreon, and it was delayed because apparently, like, one of my supporters had some suspicious financial activity on their account. And so in the process of checking out that person's transactions, they were holding up the payouts for the various creators on there that this person supported. So it's all been sorted. But the thing is, because I've always been paid on the same day of the month all the time, I have a bunch of stuff set to auto pay a few business days after, because I have ADHD, and if I can safely have stuff happen automatically.
Thank you. I muted the alerts earlier. This crap's always crazy. I support a family of 5 at around 5k a month. Budget and at least drive to Taco Bell instead of DoorDash. Right? Yes, exactly. Dude, there's people out there that have genuinely got like dependents and lives, and they've got to manage budgets in order to make sure that their, you know, family are provided for. And then total shitters like this are banging on about living paycheck to paycheck, you know, pulling in probably 4k a month, maybe more, you know?
That's good. But by the time I realized this was genuinely delayed and wasn't going to arrive in time, those transactions were already started. Like, they hadn't been taken from my account yet, but they were too far along for me to cancel and stop them and or delay them. And I put word out here on the channel that I literally just needed a couple $100 to be sure that I wasn't overdrawn. That was all that, because like once the amount got released from Patreon, it was going to be fine, but I was about to get overdrawn. A couple $100 to be sure that I wasn't overdrawn. That was all that, because like once the amount.
I see that, you know, the masculine trait of hairy armpits is not something they're particularly concerned about. And certainly based on the other image that I was just flashbang with, it's quite common.
Got released from Patreon, it was going to be fine, but I was about to get overdrawn. And I put that up. I took a shower. I got out of the shower and had raised 150% of what I needed. And I did the same thing Ian did. I got rid of the request.
Wait. They had a payment delay and they asked their audience to cover the gap because they haven't got a fucking bit of money knocking about to cover something like that. This is something that would be reasonable if you were just starting out and this was new to you, right? I mean, really, you should have savings before you start a career like this. But even so, I could be flexible to look at that situation. This is obscene. I don't know how long ago it was, but fuck me, dude. That's like extremely obnoxious. It depends how they did it, right? If they, dude, I don't know. Was it a GoFundMe? If it's a GoFundMe, that seems a bit like a shitter move. But if it's like just asking people in your videos, maybe it's a bit more reasonable. I don't know. It's even so though, you should manage your finances better than that.
I took it down because I don't want to feel like I'm taking advantage. But I was in a situation where, was I in desperate, dire struggle? No, but I was about to be overdrawn on my account, which is a spiral that gets real bad real fast. And you guys saved me. I asked for help and you were there. And I think a lot of YouTubers are going to find that if they could get more comfortable being honest about when something has gone sideways, I think they will find that their audiences want to help.
Yes, because, dude, if you've got a strong parasocial relationship, you can manipulate that to your benefit. That's not good. That's not a good thing that they're willing to help you. I mean, you know, I like to think my audience would tell me to get fucked and mock me for being DSP or something, but, you know, like, you know, there are ways that, you know, there are ways that I could present it that would maximize the chances that people would still put their hands in their pocket, right? There's, you know, certain ways you could present things. Like, you could make up some shit about, you know, just something, and people might buy it. So I don't know, dude. It's not that I do that, to be clear, okay? If I ever needed, like, I don't know that I think I would, but if I ever did need something like that, I'd be very upfront about it. And then obviously you can tell me to get fucked and I'm a fucking loser if you wanted to. But anyway, the point is, there are ways you can do it to be manipulative. And I don't think that's a good thing necessarily.
Not all of them. And some people will probably throw accusations of...
Shoe on head. Oh no, a poor kid must be getting abused because she sucks and has Funko Pops. I think it's probably more to do with the fact that the trans thing and the OnlyFans thing. That would be my assumption.
You know, taking advantage of your audience or whatever. But like, honestly, if you are making videos in this kind of space, you should be used to having a bunch of really BS accusations being thrown at you. And that's something we all need to get better at ignoring anyways. Your audience loves you and wants to help. But if you don't tell them you need it, then they can't.
So, trans thing, OnlyFans thing, financially irresponsible.
So my hope through a video like this, which I have no idea how many people this will reach, but I hope that you understand better.
Also, guys, can you just chill out a little bit, okay? Listen, people like to watch me of various different walks of life. Stop targeting individuals in chat, okay? Just chill out.
The precarious situation that your favorite YouTubers...
It was someone just saying that you're, you know, I don't fucking know, dude. I don't know, some person that doesn't like you.
Probably in. And I hope that other YouTubers in this space can start to work on breaking down that stigma, that guilt.
Oh, Stylo, I'm not saying be nice, okay? God, Stylo, you're so annoying, dude. Just be normal. Is that too much to ask?
And that shame that comes from asking for help. It's okay. You might just be surprised at what happens when you're willing to say,
okay, fair enough.
I need help.
Fair enough. I got the wrong end of the stick.
Thank you very much for listening. Whatever thoughts you might have on any of this, drop something down in the comments and let's talk about it. I already did the Patreon plug, so we can skip that. But what I really want you to remember, YouTuber or viewer, you are beautiful, you are valid, and you are loved.
I feel like it's a twisted version of Mr. Rogers. Mrs. Rogers. Mr. Rogers has a cock chopped off and is fucking coming at me with an axe. Right?
You are the council, and I am just running the meetings. And until next time, this council is adjourned.
Yeah. And that for classic. Classic self-visualization of oneself. That was great. That was wonderful. I really enjoyed that. That smile sent shivers down my spine. Anyway, guys, dude, I love those segments. Some of my favorite stuff.